Quick note before we start, the room looks different today, on purpose. The episode is about voice, audio, and the path between speaking and getting something done. It seemed honest to record it where voice actually gets handled. You stand in a foreign airport, your boss replies on Slack, your kid asks a question from the back seat, your client wants a contract clause translated into their language. 4 very different moments, 4 very different apps. Voice did not fail. The trip between 4 apps did. Talking to a computer should be simple. You speak, it understands, it helps, and you move on. In practice, voice tools often feel like a small research project with a microphone attached. Choose a provider, pick a model, configure a language, set a voice, fix the paced behavior, test the latency, wonder why it heard lunch instead of launch, and then quietly go back to typing. There are roughly 4 moments where voice can save real time. You dictate because your hands are slower than your thinking. You translate because the other person does not share your language. You learn a language because your job actually uses words your school curriculum never reached. And you go hands-free because there are minutes in your day where the phone is not in your hand and should not have to be. Most tools cover one of those moments well, 2 of them awkwardly, and the rest by sending you to a different app. So you do that. You collect tools. Speaking out loud to an empty room used to be a symptom. Now it is a feature. Most people who try voice once and never return tell the same story. The first tool felt invasive. It asked for everything before it asked for anything. The second tool worked, but the result pasted into the wrong field, so you stopped trusting it. The third tool was good, but the second moment of your day needed a different app, and the workflow broke at the switch. You configured your voice app on Sunday. On Monday, it asked which voice. On Tuesday, it asked which language. On Wednesday, it asked you to confirm Monday's voice. You typed your message on Wednesday. A clean dictation workflow is not complicated. Your voice becomes text. The text can be cleaned, corrected, or translated. The result lands where you need it. Clipboard, active app, document, chat. Optionally, the system reads it back. None of those steps should feel magical. The more understandable the chain is, the easier it is to trust. Voice should not hide everything behind a single black box button. It should make the path visible enough that you know what is happening to your words. This also makes it less intimidating for people new to AI. They understand one stage at a time instead of one big mystery. Your dictated text is personal. It can include work details, names, plans, messages, and private thoughts. If a voice tool uses AI providers, you should know which provider is used, which key is used, and whether the tool itself stores anything. Your key, your provider, your data flow. Your voice is not just input data, it is often the fastest path to your actual thinking. And that deserves more respect than a mystery upload button. A voice tool that asks for microphone accessibility, notifications, and overlay permissions all at once, on first launch before you have done anything, is not being honest. A voice tool that asks for the microphone when you press record, asks for accessibility the first time auto-paste is enabled, and asks for notifications only when you turn on message read back. That one is being honest. The difference is not technical. It is whether the tool treats permissions as questions or as paperwork. If you are still here, the next part covers the 3 voice moments that most tutorials skip. There is a 1-page voice coverage map at the end of this video. 5 fields about your own 4 voice moments, 7 yes or no architecture checks, 1 threshold that tells you whether you have a working system, or 4 apps you keep switching between. Picture this. You are in a country whose language you barely speak. You need something quickly. Directions, a pharmacy, a contact, a basic question. Pointing at a phrasebook is slow. Typing into a translator and showing the screen is awkward. The honest moment is when you can speak your own language into the device, and the device speaks the local language back out loud so the person you are asking can simply hear it. That is not a party trick. That is the difference between asking for help and pointing at a menu while your phone rings out. Real-time translation is most valuable exactly when typing fails, when your hands are full, when you're stressed, when the moment is short. Language learning has its own market with more than 1 billion paying users. You spent 3 years on a language learning platform. You went to Madrid. They responded in English. You had a streak. The apps were not lying. You just needed coffee vocabulary, and your job needed something else. A lawyer needs contract vocabulary in another language. A doctor needs patient interview phrasing. A software engineer needs code review vocabulary. The curriculum that ends at the bakery does not get you to the deposition, the differential diagnosis, or the architecture review. Voice Plus, a general-purpose AI model with your own key, your own pace, and your own field, does. You can practice the actual sentences you will need at work, instead of the ones a generic textbook decided were universally polite. Hands-free is one of those words that means very different things to different vendors. To some, it means a button you tap once. To others, it means a session you start once. Real hands-free means the device works while you are jogging, while you are driving, while you have a child on your hip, while you are carrying groceries up 3 flights of stairs. Incoming messages get read aloud, replies get spoken back without you stopping the activity. If you have to look at the screen to confirm anything, you are never hands-free. You were just polite to the marketing copy. The classic proof is the goodbye. Every voice message ends with, okay, bye, 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 bye. 6 byes, escalating in pitch, in a desperate attempt to find the stop button. Hands-free until the last second. A voice system that responds too slowly, stops feeling like conversation, and starts feeling like paperwork. For dictation, 2 or 3 seconds is fine. For real-time voice chat, the rhythm matters. Interruption, turn detection, echo cancellation, and the space between turns shape whether the user keeps talking naturally or starts performing for the machine. If the gap is awkward, people slow down to match it. The voice tool teaches the human to speak strangely instead of the other way around. Voice will mishear. You voice noted, fire him. The AI polished it to hire him. He showed up Monday with cookies. Voice that misreads a single word is funny. Voice that polishes the wrong word into the opposite word is a Monday morning meeting. Translation will sometimes flatten nuance. A voice model can sound confident while misunderstanding your intent. The cure is not silence. The cure is staying in the loop. Review before sending. Keep costs visible. Build a personal dictionary that follows you across providers. The voice coverage map below has a row for that too. The row asks whether your corrections survive when you change a provider or whether you start over every time. A practical setup can start very small. Add 1 speech-to-text key, test dictation in your own language. Then add a language model key for polish if your messages benefit from it. Then add a text-to-speech voice for readback. Then add translation. Then, when the basics are stable, explore real-time voice chat. That order is not arbitrary. It protects your motivation. If everything is enabled on day 1, every error feels like the whole system failed. If the chain grows by 1 piece per week, you can see which part works, which part needs adjustment, and which part you actually do not need. The architecture that survives daily use has 3 properties. Your keys stay on your device. Your provider choice is visible and reversible. Your personal dictionary, the words only you know, the names, the abbreviations, the jargon, follows you wherever you speak. If you switch providers, your corrections are still yours. If you uninstall, your data is still yours. That is the difference between a tool and a subscription. So, the voice coverage map, 5 fields. Your own 4 voice moments written out. 7 yes or no checks, 1 stack covers all 4. BYOK, permissions on demand, dictionary that follows you, latency under 2 seconds, domain vocabulary supported, hands-free that actually works. One threshold, working system, patchable, or 4 apps you are pretending are one workflow. Faceless YouTube automation, hq.com/resources. Email in, map out, completely free. No tracking circus, no upsell, no newsletter you did not ask for. Next, the small technical gotchas, the ones that look harmless and steal entire weekends. Because in real production, the dramatic failures are usually less dangerous than the tiny ones nobody warned you about.